Hi friends, I'm Srini Edwali and you're watching Srini Unplugged. Please do like this video, share and subscribe, and don't forget to press that bell icon. Friends, today's video we are going to discuss wokeism. Okay, friends, as you are aware, we have completed the Why Knowing Ideology Matters series pertaining to wokeism, where we did 6 videos, and we discussed about 6 systems that are followed in the world. Okay, out of lot of them, 6 is something that primarily we discussed. Okay, what were they? One is Marxism, postmodernism. Then we discussed about communism, capitalism, socialism, and democracy. Okay, in the 6 videos, we covered all these concepts, and we were just trying to say, where does wokeism draws from these 6 different systems. All right. So in today's video, we'll understand what is wokeism is all about, and the inspiration from each one of these different 6 systems. Okay. So friends, let's get started. Friends, so basically wokeism doesn't have any single definition. Okay, I have this notes with me which I have made for the interest of all of you, because it's very important, okay, to know. The reason I'm saying this is because it is impacting you, it is impacting me as individuals, it is impacting both of us as group, it is impacting both of us as community and society at large. Okay, that's the reason why it is important to know what these concepts are all about, and whether we basically, you, me and us together basically, are also qualified to be called as people with woke ideologies. Okay, very important. So let's try to understand that. So friends, so as I mentioned, wokeism doesn't have one single definition. So then how do you explain wokeism? So the only way we can explain wokeism is basically through some parameters, fundamental parameters, and if we fall into following any of the specific parameters, then we can definitely say that we have this woke ideology inbuilt and ingrained in us. Okay, so what are these parameters, friends? So basically there are 5 parameters. So number 1 is basically systematic oppression. Number 2 is intersectionality. Number 3 is identity politics. Number 4 is social justice. Number 5 is activism and awareness. Okay, I'll repeat that. So systematic oppression, intersectionality, identity politics, social justice, and last but not the least is activism and awareness. So we'll understand each one of them and then try to understand it with detailed explanations and examples, and see how it is affecting all of us. So let's explore the first component, which is called the systematic oppression. So friends, how is basically wokeism defined as systematic oppression, and where the systematic oppression is coming from? We'll delve into that. So wokeism recognizes that systems of oppression such as racism, sexism and classism, mark these words when classism exists in society, and that these systems disadvantage certain groups of people. Okay, so I said the first concept, or the first what you call parameter, is systematic oppression. So in this, where is oppression coming from? In that definition, where is classism coming from? If you go and check my video of what you call Marxism, so we discussed about classism and oppression in that particular video. Remember, in that video we spoke about Karl Marx, disenchantment with what he discovered, when he wanted to understand the disillusion. Okay, not disenchantment, but he was disillusioned to find out why this inequality is there in the world. Okay, and he basically figured out that one of the reasons why there is inequality is because of this class system, and class system basically brings oppression. So from there, wokeism is picking up, has picked up this concept, and it is saying systematic oppression. Okay, so now that we have understood the systematic oppression part and which theory this wokeism got inspired from, let's have a look at some examples. Okay, and friends, so basically this is something that kind of will be in a conversational mode. So there is a series of questions, and this is basically targeted to my women friends, colleagues and relatives. So if you wish to answer these questions, you may answer them in the comment section, and I'll tell you where do you stand in the scheme of things as far as wokeism is concerned. All right, so question number 1: have you ever been paid less than a male colleague for doing the same job? Okay. Question number 2: have you ever been denied a promotion or raise because you are a woman? Question number 3: have you ever been told that you are too emotional or not too tough enough to do a job because you are a woman. Question number 4. Have you ever been pressurized to leave your job or work fewer hours after you took a break for your marriage and child, maternity leave? Okay. So these are the 4 questions, friends. And if you answered yes, okay, to any of these questions, I'm not on all of this, any one of these questions, then you have experienced systematic oppression. So you are the oppressed community, okay? Then what happens? Welcome. You are now part of a woke cultural world, okay? Systematic oppression. If any of these things have happened to you, if you answered in yes, you're in a woke cultural world, okay? So now let's get into the second parameter, intersectionality. What does it mean? And wokeism emphasizes that intersection of different forms of oppression, okay? Meaning that people can experience multiple forms of oppression simultaneously can happen. How does that happen? So let's take an example. So a Native American woman who marries an Indian American may experience intersection in a number of ways. We'll just look at one or two. Let's say she may face discrimination from her own family or religious community. Let's say she is a Christian and this fellow is basically Hindu. Okay, and then they get into an engagement and they marry together. So her community may that's what the example is talking about. Her community may face discrimination for her own family or religious community because of her race, ethnicity or cultural background and to whom she got married. Okay, the other form of basically intersectionality might happen, and the most important part is she may experience challenges in raising her child in a way that honors both the cultural traditions. So she is a Christian, this one is a Hindu, they both get married, and what happens next? What will the progeny's religious affiliation be? Okay, that becomes a big challenge. So that's where your intersectionality comes into the picture. Okay, classic example. Okay, if you have experienced this, then you are a part of a woke ecosystem, right? Point number 3, identity politics. The biggest challenge of the country today. Okay, and I'll tell you the reasons why. Wokeism, and where is this coming from? And before in identity politics, I need to explain to you where is intersectionality coming from. Intersectionality, we looked at multiculturalism, okay, right? So a Native American woman and a Native American man, okay? 2 cultures, different cultures. So that's basically because there is more than one culture, multiculturalism, okay? That came over there. And then this intersectionality happened, okay? Just as we discussed. Where is all these things coming from? This is coming from a concept that we discussed in postmodernism, where we spoke about deconstruction, okay? So deconstruction is directly equivalent to intersectionality, okay? Now, identity politics. So where is this coming from? Identity politics is basically coming from democracy. If you look at the democracy video, what constitutes democracy, we discussed about something called political pluralism, okay? Having more than one party, okay? That is driving the entire democratic ecosystem, right? So from there you are getting into identity politics, okay? So let's have a definition of identity politics from a woke's perspective. Wokeism is often associated with identity politics, which is a political approach that emphasizes the importance of social identities such as race, gender and sexual orientation, okay? And why is this very important? Here is one classic example, okay? And very relevant and recent example that I'm going to talk about. Now, all of you might be aware that there was a caste census data that was released in Bihar recently, okay? Now, how this census data is going to be used by these political parties or alliance groups to their benefit, okay? Let's explore that. So how will political parties use that? Might use that. So political parties could use the census data to identify caste groups that are key to winning the elections, okay? Segmentation, marketing segmentation, alright? Then they could target these groups with campaigns, messages and promises. What they did in Karnataka, right? What they are trying to do in Telangana with for women, okay? Same kind of promises, targeted campaigns. Then this is how the political parties will play the game. Now what happens, how the caste-based organizations will play this game. So the caste-based organizations could, I'm saying could, okay, use the census data to lobby the government for more reservations. Okay, so that's one more component that could happen. Then upper caste groups. So how will upper caste groups use this data to their advantage? Okay, they could use the census data, argue that they are becoming minority and that their interests are being marginalized. Okay, and what would happen to the lower caste groups? Lower caste groups could use the census data to argue that they are still underrepresented in the government and other institutions. This is what happens when you do identity cap politics. Okay, very dangerous, and it's very important to basically know where we are heading as a nation and vote accordingly, because elections are around the corner. So all the best to all of you. Then social justice. Okay, one term that I feel that is never a possibility in my personal perspective. But what is social justice? Okay, and where is this coming from? Social justice is coming from the socialism subject that we discussed in the Knowing Ideology series. Okay, so what is social justice? If we have to talk it in our native Telugu language, samajika nyayam. Okay, samajika nyayam, which is never a possibility anyway. But let's understand the social justice from a wokeism angle. So social justice wokeism is ultimately about achieving social justice, which is next to impossible, which is a broad term that encompasses the fight for equality and equity for all people. Equality and equity for all people. Okay, I'll not get into the equity part because that itself is a very big term, but equality part is basically the part that actually drowned the Birmingham City Council. I made a video on that, if you remember. Okay, have a look at that video and how equality component actually destroyed the Birmingham City Council and brought it on its knees. Okay, please have a look at that video. I think you will have a much better understanding. Then for this current particular topic, what can we discuss apart from BCC, Birmingham City Council? So the RTA Act has been a powerful tool for promoting social justice in India. Okay, from our Indian context, it has enabled citizens to hold government accountable for its actions and to demand transparency and good governance. Good, no? Rahul Gandhi actually, in 2012-13, actually he did a interview with Arnab of at that point of time Times Now and now Republic, right? So it was a 1 hour interview, and in that 1 hour, at least as far as I remember, almost 45 to 50 minutes he spoke about RTA. We have filed an RTA, and RTA information is this, RTA information is that, and the entire 45 minutes of interviews predominantly dominated by RTA part of it only. Okay, so RTA, social justice, awareness and activism. Okay, this is a concept that Woke brings on its own. This is not an interdependent or a borrowed concept. Okay, so this is Woke's own concept, if you want to call it. Okay, so wokeism is about being aware of and actively working to dismantle systems of oppression. Okay, dismantle systems of oppression. So I'll give one more classical example in our right homes. Okay, in our homes right now. So this is for both grooms and to-be grooms and to-be brides. Okay, who are there in your respective families. If your parents are searching for a bride, okay, and they're pressurizing you to get married, you are getting oppressed. Okay, it's an oppressive system. And brides, if your parents are pressurizing you also to get married, and they are in the hunt for a groom, and they are pressurizing you, then you are also getting oppressed. Okay, on a jovial note. But yeah, systematic oppression, right? You do this, and they are pressurizing you day in and day out. So of course it's a form of oppression. So if this is happening in your family, in my family, and any family, parents are oppressing the children. Okay, example only. But if it is happening, we are in a woke world. Okay, that's what I mean to say. So anyway, let's get into the example part of it. So actively working to dismantle the systems of oppression by awareness and activism. Okay, now I'll give you one classical example and a very important example. Okay, this is something that I have seen very recently, but that's what I'm going to share with you. So there is one movement called the Awaken India movement. Okay, they have a website also which I put in the description. Okay, have a look at that. Awaken India movement brings together people who want to educate, uplift and spur collaborative and creative action. no problem, so far so good. Okay, self-responsibility and awareness about freedom of choices and basic human rights, which are rapidly eroding. Perfectly apt, I also agree with them, no problem. We present reliable information resources that are accessible to those with little scientific, legal, or technical knowledge. So all they are trying to say is that I will get all the information to you in a language that you guys are very comfortable in terms of reading and understanding. So completely in sync. There is absolutely no problem. So far so good as far as their mission or vision statement is all about. So what is that they're talking next? The next point that they're saying is we are particularly concerned about health, financial, and ecological crisis that humanity is facing. Good, completely accepted. I'm with these people on that trend. Facilitated by misplaced and false narratives. Okay, now this is something debatable that are propagated as its cause. Okay, our collective journey began by revealing the truth about the COVID-19. They are doing a lot of work on COVID, unearthing the COVID-19 data. Okay, the Great Reset and the communicating with the public about the new norms. Okay, now what these people are saying is that there are a lot of COVID deaths that have happened, and the government actually didn't take proper care or kept certain piece of information in dark, which they should have let the general public of the country know about it. Okay, now it could be looked at both the ways. Okay, and they are advocating that don't take the jabs, the COVID vaccine. Okay, whether you want it Covaxin or Covishield, they are going behind Bharat Biotech and Serum Institution very aggressively. Okay, they want to file legal cases also. Okay, because I think yes, to some extent we can understand, because a lot of personal losses have happened in the homes of all those activists who are propagating this. Understandable, and specifically if there are kids of small kids, 18 years, 19 years, 15 years, it's very, very bad. So this activism is understandable, but to say that because of this a lot of negative things are happening. Yes, every medication has a negative side effect that is coming to the foray. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but does that mean that you should not vaccinate at all? Okay, that's a question. So the whole point that I'm trying to say is that AIM, okay, awareness and awaken India movement, okay, is basically right now going after government in terms of COVID vaccination, and they are advising the people not to take COVID shots. Okay, that's what this activism is all about. The other thing that we know is, sometime back there was a #MeToo movement where it's a global movement that raises awareness of sexual harassment and assault. Okay, we know the #MeToo movement, right? Everybody went and said that I have been harassed this way, that way. Both men and female came open. Then the third movement is the climate change. The Greta, what is that her name? Greta Thunberg. Okay, the small kiddo. Okay, then what's the next movement? The anti-corruption movement. Okay, Arvind Kejriwal. Okay. There is also a growing movement in India to fight corruption. This movement has been led by numerous social activists such as Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal. Okay, we know about Anna Hazare. He still is a good man. But what happened to Kejriwal? We all know about that, anti-corruption movement. Then the human rights movement. Okay, this is something which keeps happening every now and then. Okay, the moment you touch anybody, the human rights activists are behind you. Okay, even in situations where you are trying to clean up the mess created in the country. Okay, by antisocial elements. In that scenarios also, the human rights activists raise their voices. I don't know the right and the wrong part of it, but yeah. So the human rights movement, all these things happen. No, basically the whole point that I'm trying to say is, friends, wokeism is there, living with us in our daily lives. Okay, and in some form or the other, we are thinking woke, we are acting woke, we are behaving woke. Okay. Now, how do we get out of it is something I don't know. Very honestly, it's a question, because a lot of people are not sure, okay, of how to get off this woke thought process and ideology. Okay, it will take a lot of time, because all these things, as I mentioned, The oppression and the oppressed is not something new. Karl Marx studied around 12th century, 14th century, 15th centuries. Study basically led him to conclude that classism is fundamental reason for inequalities. Okay, so if the oppression and oppress system is that old, how do you basically deconstruct and dismantle in a day, or in just over a decade, or overnight? That's not possible. So some way or the other, the whole thing is that it's impacting and affecting all of us. That's number one. And we should be a little cautious in terms of the way we talk, the way we present our conversations to the larger audience is something we should be very, very cautious of. Okay, and friends, so that's what wokeism is all about. So again, I conclude this video again by giving you the 5 core concepts. Okay, you may feel it repetitive but important. Okay, number 1, systematic oppression. Number 2, intersectionality. Number 3, identity politics. Number 4, social justice. That's okay. Anyway, number 5, awareness and activism. So these things are happening around you. You see in day in day out. It's near your home, your community, your locality. When I say you, it's not you as my audiences. It's near me as well. Okay, there was a procession here in my area a day ago. Okay, I basically didn't get into the details of it, but there was one, okay, an awareness movement. So that's what is happening. So friends, with this I come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon. And friends, I'll see you in the next video. And friends, as I always keep mentioning, please do let me know your thoughts and opinions on this particular video, and because it basically helps me bring curated content that is of interest to all of you. And so with that said, I once again thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, Jai Hind, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.